So here's where you are after receiving a SOC 2 report. So you checked all the audit period, you read the system description, you reviewed section 4 for exceptions, you went through the CUECs, you took notes. Now what? Most people, including compliance teams at larger companies, stop here. They file the report, check a box that says SOC 2 reviewed, and move on. But the actual work is in what comes next, making a defensible decision. Do you approve this vendor? Do you require remediation first? Do you approve with conditions? Do you walk away? And more importantly, can you explain what decision you need to make to your leadership, your auditor, your clients, if they ask? This is the part where most small businesses and MSPs are completely on their own. If there's no TPRM team, no GRC platform, they can't afford, for example, $500 to $1,500 per vendor assessment from a consultant. That is exactly why I built this BizGuard Light Pro. So I spent 5 years as a vendor risk analyst manually doing this work, reviewing questionnaires, scoring risk, writing justifications, defending decisions to auditors and leadership. Every assessment took hours, and every time the hardest part was not reading the report. It was knowing what to do with what I found. BizGuard Light Pro takes that decision out of your head and puts it into structured framework. So here's the questionnaire that I built. So step 1, you sent the vendor this structured questionnaire, which covers data and access, what kind of data they're handling, whether they have PHI or PII access, security controls, encryption, MFAs, incident response, business stability, everything that matters for a vendor risk decision. It is aligned to SOC 2 and ISO 27001 standards. Here is the scoring tab. Their answers feed into the automated scoring engine on the scoring tab, so every question is worth points. The engine calculates the total score as a percentage and assigns a risk tier automatically, low, moderate, or high. No manual math, no guesswork. Okay, and then here is where BizGuard goes beyond a simple score. On the Vendor Risk Report tab, you answer 5 context questions, these 5 questions, about your specific situation, what role this vendor plays in your organization, how critical they are, whether a business associate agreement is in place, BAA, what level of system access they have, and why you're assessing them at this time. Those 5 answers combine with the score to drive the decision engine. Okay, so grade A in the results would be acceptable risk, monitor, strong controls, standard monitoring. If it shows grade B, it is also acceptable with documentation, minor gaps, documentation needed. Grade C would show remediation required, suggestions, deficiencies require remediation before or after approval. Grade D will show escalation required, executive review required, and do not proceed without a sign-off. The next grade E would suggest to replace at renewal. Replaceable vendor, replace at the next contract renewal. And then the last grade F, it's out of scope, minimal risk, no sensitive data, and no system access. So underneath this outcome, you get specific recommendations. You will see it at a later time when I fill in the questionnaire. They will automatically be automatically generated based on your exact combination of vendor role, their risk tier, and assessment context. It's not a generic advice. The specific actions, timelines, and the next steps for this vendor will be shown in the situation. It is an enterprise level decision and intelligence at a fraction of the cost. This is what saves you 4 or 5 hours per vendor review. This is also what lets you confidently tell a client, an auditor, or your own leadership, here's the risk, and here's the decision, and here's why. So let me show you a real example. So I'm going to run a billing at an EHR vendor called Cario through the BizGuard Light Pro so you could see exactly how this works. Okay, so I already pre-populated the questionnaire so I don't have to take your time. Here you complete the client information, their business name, the owner's name, the title, email, and the phone number. And here's the vendor information. I just put the Cario Inc. And just a fictitious name, of course, and the email address. I pre-populated the answers of their access and the data and what the type of businesses they're running. So basically here it's asking all of the basic questions when it comes to security questionnaires. I would say, it's a light questionnaire. It doesn't have 200 questions like SIG, but this is sufficient enough for you to evaluate the vendor based on their access and that type of services they provide. So the first question, will the vendor access, store, or process any company data? We will say yes. The data is not public. Vendor process of store company's internal confidential data, we say yes. They do not access confidential business contracts or pricing plan. Is the data confidential business pricing plan? No. Does the service involve PII or PHI? So it's a identifiable personal data or personal health information, which is the highest sensitivity. We'd say yes, since they do process health information. And will any data be received or processed outside of US? No. They don't access VPN or VDI. They do use subcontractors. They have NDA, and then their MFA, multi-factor authentication, is in effect, and they do use it. So sensitive data is encrypted at rest and in transit. They do use AI, large language models, as part of their service delivery. So I would say yes here, but the client data is not used to train LLM. And then we say that customers can opt out from AI-based data processing. And the last few questions, do employees receive regular security awareness training? We say yes. So everything here is in compliance, basically. I don't want to take any more of your time. So we go back to the scoring, and based on the information that I inputted in the questionnaire tab, the risk tier is showing as moderate because they're pretty much compliant with most of the requirements, even though they're accessing sensitive data. The only risk that they use AI and LLM. So here we will complete the questionnaire by answering the last 5 questions. What this vendor's primary role in your organization? We would say clinical patient care, which is the highest level of access. And then what is the vendor's business criticality? We would say critical. Is the business associate agreement currently executed? We say yes. What is the vendor's system access level, full administrative access, and why you are assessing this vendor now. We would say annual review, so it's renewal. So as soon as we did that, like let's just show you. See here, there's nothing showing. As soon as we put the last answer, it automatically gives you the results. So as you could see, it resulted in level C, remediation required. This vendor has PHI access, full administrative access, moderate risk score, and some control gaps, including AI usage with customer data. So the tool says basically fix these specific issues within 30 to 90 days, then reassess, right? Here's the time frame, and here's the suggestion, and here's the additional information that you could find. So based on the logic engine, PHI access, full administrative access, moderate risk score of 68, BAA in place, but with some control gaps, including AI LLM usage with customer data, this lands on outcome C, remediation required. And it's like automated results that based on the provided information. So the recommendation is annual review complete, deficiencies require remediation, and address within 30, 90 days, then reassess. That is my decision. It is documented, and I could defend it to anyone who asks, auditors, clients, or leadership. Okay? So basically, BizGuard Light Pro is a one-time purchase for $127. No subscriptions, instant download, works in Excel or Google Sheets, no special software required. Here you will see all the features that this tool provides. The link is in description. So if you're reviewing vendors, whether that's once a month or 10 a year, this tool pays for itself basically on the first assessment. And if you found this video useful, please subscribe. I put out content on vendor risk management, TPRM, and GRC that is actually practical. I built from real experience and not theory. The link is below, and I will see you in the next one.